Hey there, Aurora here with Supercharged Math, and are you ready to get started? We have so many fun things we're going to be doing this year. Okay, so first things first, this is a video that's going to outline what the program is, what the expectations are, how do you stay prepared, how do you stay organized, what is this course, how does it work? Okay, so first of all, there are two different levels. There's grades 4, 5, and 6, and then there's grades 7, 8. Okay, so depending on what level you're at, you're going to choose a different area to get started. So this is the main program. So what you'll do is you'll pick an area to study. It may be fractions, it may be decimals, it may be percent, or it could be algebra or geometry, depending on the level. Okay, so for grades 4, 5, and 6, we focus on fractions, decimals, and percent. And for grades 7 and 8, we focus on algebra and geometry. Okay, so whatever level you're at, that's perfect. So that's the level you want to start with. Okay, so how do we do this? So every time you are ready for a math class, it's going to be a video. It says math lesson. I'll just show you what that looks like. So say, for example, you're going to start with fractions. Okay, so you'll click on fractions, and then you'll see this big page that has week 1, week 2, week 3. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll hit fractions week number 1. Okay, and that'll take you into here. Now, this is an intro parent video there. Okay, do you see where it says math lesson? So this is a recording of me teaching a math lesson, and this one's 29 minutes long. So typically they're between 20 and 30 minutes. And then this is the math lesson for number 1, and this is math lesson number 2. So there's 2 math lessons every week. Now, if you're joining me live, obviously, you'll be joining me during the live parts of this, but then if you don't want to join live, that's okay. We provide recordings. But either way, you have 2 math lessons every week. Okay, so what do you do during these math lessons? Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to get a notebook. Do you have a notebook? All right, so if you don't have a notebook, you're going to use a regular old sheet of paper, and here's how it works. Whatever I am talking about here, let's go back to that screen. So say, for example, I'm up here, and I'm demonstrating something. Here, I'll make this bigger so you can see it. You see how I'm demonstrating stuff? So you would write down whatever it is that I'm talking about, what I'm writing down. So whatever I'm writing down, that's what you're going to write down in your notebook or on your piece of paper, okay? And so let's go down to my desk so you can see what that looks like. I have 2 different notebooks here. You see them? So you can choose a notebook that has regular lines on it, and all you need for class is a pencil and an eraser. I do like to encourage kids to bring rulers. The rulers that I like best have both metric and standard, so inches and centimeters on the same ruler, but you can use any ruler that you've got. Okay, and this is what you need for class. So whatever I'm writing down, you're going to write down. Now, if you choose a different notebook, there's another kind. It's got the grids here. You can see if you open it up, there's a whole bunch of little squares. So this comes in handy when we start doing graphing with algebra and geometry. You don't really need to have this. If you want, you can print out, and I provide you with grid paper, and you can simply print that out and paste it on the pages that you'd need it in your regular math journal. Now, if you prefer, here, do you want to see what my math journal looks like? Here. So you can see here in my notebook, I'm just taking notes. They're not color-coded, they're not fancy, but they mean something to me. And then later, as we get into things, you may be pasting things and putting them in, so you can talk about it. I draw pictures, so I know what the class was like. And then I also will paste things in. So this is when we get to hexaflexagons. And these are really fun toys, and I made a whole bunch of them. And then I made a pocket in my notebook to keep them in. Okay? So this whole thing is just one notebook. Okay, and then if you are not choosing a notebook, but you like pieces of paper, so for example, you'll write down on the piece of paper whatever it is that we're talking about that day, and then hole punch it, stick it in a binder. And you may also want to include like the copies of like the PDF downloads in your binder as well. That can be really nice. You can also cut this out and tape it in later after class if you'd like. Okay, so that's what the notebooks are going to look like. So you have 2 choices. You can use a regular notebook, or you can use a binder if you're just using regular sheets of paper. Typically, I don't keep every single piece of paper that a child will touch. So if you are a student in my class, I would encourage you to keep your class notes and your homework assignments that are graded. And so those are the things that typically go in a binder. If you're using a notebook and you're doing your homework in here, what you'll do is you'll divide it in half. This front half will be class notes, and then this back half you can put like a tab or something in here so you can flip to it quickly, is going to be your homework. So typically it's about 50%, so half and half, so in the same notebook. So the homework assignments, you can quickly flip to the front. You're like, wait, how did she do that again? Oh yeah, okay, great, and then you can keep going. Now, if you don't want to print anything out, so we have a lot of PDFs in this program, that's okay. We have a number of people that actually say they learn more when they don't print them out, because the act of actually transferring it from the screen where they're looking at the problem into the journal actually allows the students have said it allows me time to think about the problem and process it much better than if it was like a printed thing. So that's up to you. If you like worksheets and you like printing them out, they're available. If instead you actually want to make your own drawings and do your own sketches, that's what your notebook is for, okay? And so expect to fill up one of these for every unit. So we'll have one for fractions, one for decimal, one for percent, and so forth. Okay. So that's the first part. The other piece of equipment I would recommend, just to kind of mention this, if you're my grades, if you are in percent and so 6th grade math, and if you're also my algebra and geometry students, it's time for a calculator. So this is just a simple calculator. This is the exact one I use. I got it for $10. It's not a graphing calculator. We actually use a computer program for that. And so this is super easy. And there's, if you look on the algebra and also the geometry pages, it'll tell you what features to have in your calculator. So don't feel like you have to spend $150 on a calculator, because that's just crazy. Okay, so what do? So during class, as I'm talking, you're going to be writing notes. If I go too fast, which does happen, I get excited. I mean, this is stuff I've seen before, so my tendency is to go fast. I do try to slow it down so you have time, and I keep the problems up there so you can write them down. If it is still too fast, here's what you do. While we have a live class, you're not going to take any notes at all. You're just going to put the pencil down, and you can have like a little piece of scratch paper if you want, but you're going to put the pencil down and you're just going to engage with me. I'm going to ask you questions. You're going to shout back answers. I'm going to ask you things like, how much of this and where is 1 5/8 on this? And you're going to just totally be engaged in class and have some fun. And then what you'll do is, after class is over, it immediately gets turned, the live class player will immediately turn into a video player. So it will have the recording right away. And what you'll do is you'll hit play on that, grab your notebook, and as I'm talking through the things we just talked about, you're going to grab your notebook, you're going to take notes, and if I'm still going too fast, because you've seen it before, so you know what I'm going to say, if I'm still going too fast, hit that pause button, and then copy down what it is I'm saying, or what it is I'm demonstrating, and then hit the play button, and then you can fast forward me if I'm if it takes me a long time to describe something and you're like, yeah, I get it. That's fine. But this way you can take notes at your own pace. So you're learning. This is a skill, a life skill you need to develop, because when you get to high school and you get to college, if you can't say to the professor, I'm sorry, you're going too fast. They're going to be like, listen faster. So in this case, this is a really good skill for you to master. So again, if I'm speaking too quickly and you can't keep up, you're just going to enjoy the class. Just don't worry about taking notes, and then watch the recording afterwards, and then hit pause as you need it to catch up, and then do the note taking on the recording. Does that make sense? So you don't have to worry about if you're feeling like anxious, like I can't keep up. This is a skill you need to master, because a lot of things are going to be coming at you in life, whether it's demands from the kids or the carpool schedule or your boss at work. People are going to be telling you things, and you need to have that ability to write stuff down as you go. So this is a perfect opportunity to learn how to do that. Okay. So that was kind of a long introduction. So what are we going to do? You have a live class with me on Mondays. If you're doing the recording, you can watch them anytime. There are 2 live classes with a teacher every week. Usually I'm the first one, and usually Doug is the second one. Once in a while we cover each other's shifts if something happens, or that sort of thing. But in general, I will be your Monday, and Doug is going to, so Monday's class, I introduce a concept in math, and then I will do some problems, and then at the end of class, I'll point to where on the website, where on the website that you will need to go. So for example, on Monday's class, we're going to talk about fractions. So because we've just started the year, and I'm going to say, okay, we have finished with that. So the first thing I want you to do is work on your workbook. So the first thing you're going to do is download your workbook. There are step-by-step videos of me walking you through every single page of the workbook. So if you would like more class time with me, you can find that in there as well. And then also at the end of the class, I'll say, okay, and if that was easy for you, all right, now what I want you to do is I want you to hop down to intermediate. Okay, and then there's a little recording. You're going to watch me go more into depth from what I covered in class. And then there are all kinds of activities. These are the games and the labs and the projects and the activities. They're all in here. And you can do as many of them as you want. There's scavenger hunts, there's games, there's dominoes this week. And so if you've done a few of them, you're like, that was easy, Aurora. No problem. You're ready for section number 2. So session number 2. And so you can go into fraction session 2. And if that was too easy, go to session number 3. There are assessments at the back of every workbook. So for fractions, there's 4 workbooks. So if you know your child has done some fractions, but you're not sure how much, give them the last 2 pages of a workbook, workbook number 1. And if they get most of them right, they don't hesitate. They've already tested out of that. And then it's clearly defined like which workbook pages we're doing every week. Here, let me show you where that is. And it'll say math assignments outline right under the parent video. And so when you open that up, it will tell you what the workbook is and what the pages is that fractions session number 1 will cover. And so if I make that bigger, you can probably see it better. Okay. And so if they've tested out of workbook number 1, then obviously you're going to go to a later session where we're talking about workbook 2 and 3 and 4. And so every workbook has that. The percent, the decimal, the fractions, the algebra, the geometry, all of that's in there. Okay, so there are 3 sections that we will be working through for my grades 4, 5, and 6. And typically, just doing fractions all year long for 4th grade, it's not a great idea because kids tend to burn out if you just focus so long on one thing. So instead, what I would recommend is I would start with fractions and do it until they're starting to feel like, I think I'm done with fractions. And then I would pick another study unit and put that in there. It's okay, well, I was going to say a lot of times kids actually benefit if you do multiple things at the same time. Now, if you do too many, you can obviously overuse this. But what I mean is it's okay if they're stuck on something and they're just not getting, say, multiplying fractions. They're just not getting it. That's okay. Pause and let's do a totally different thing. Let's engage a different part of their mind. So what that'll do is that'll put multiplying fractions on the back burner. They won't forget about it. It'll still be there. And you'll be amazed, but maybe you'll dive into like percent, or maybe you'll dive into something with geometry, right? Totally different area of math. And then you'll get this look on their face at one point, and they'll probably go something like this. They'll be working on a math problem, and all of a sudden they'll go, oh, I get it now. It's because they're making new connections, relationships. They're relating something that they learned before with something they're learning now, and things are starting to click. That's what we want. We want positive progress every single day. So if it feels like, wow, they're just not getting this, it's time to stop and to try something different, try something new, try something they haven't had a lot of experience with. And often that'll get them over the hump, and then they'll have stacked enough ahas and positive experiences and that confidence building activities that we're doing. And then they can come back to an area where they were challenged, and it won't be such a challenge anymore. So you want a quick story? So, and I share stories all year long, by the way. So, a mom was sharing how my kid just doesn't want to do long division. Actually, this is a story from several parents mushed together because this is a common one. Kid can't do long division, but they're in like 6th grade. They don't want to do long division, or they're in 8th grade. They're just long division was the thing they should have mastered back in 2nd and 3rd grade. So usually what I'll say is like, okay, so what's happening? And the parents have said, well, how they just, as soon as they hear the word long division, the kid locks up. Like, okay, well, they've got a trigger, right? I said, all right, so instead, let's take them to the store. All right, give them $10. And then say, how many cookies can you buy for this? Got $10. how many cookies can you buy? And now, how quickly do you think that kid's going to learn how to do long division? Usually in their head, it's a lot easier because you didn't say the word long division, or 2 words, long division, and you're getting them out of the regular environment where they lock up, and you're putting them in another environment. And that can usually be enough to get them started. And once you don't, then you don't want to say, hey, I told you so, you could do long division. No, that's going to like totally defeat the purpose. Instead, the parents came back and they're like, the kids told me, come on, Mom, give me an easy one. That was such an easy one. Give me a hard one. And it was interesting how the kids who got stuck with long division, if you did it auditorily, so just spoken but not numbers on a page, the kids had no problem with it. In fact, they were doing ones that were more complicated than the parents could do in their heads, and they had to check with the calculator. So don't hesitate to move things around if you need to. This program is designed to work for you and your family. Okay, and so that's really all you need for class. We are going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to be presenting concepts to you. You're going to be writing things down in your notebook so you have them, and then you're going to be doing the math assignments. I don't collect work, so what that means is I will always provide you with the answer keys that you can share with your students once they've completed their work. And there is a whole, let me show you where it is. There's a whole video on how to self-evaluate, which is yet another skill. So click on the word workbooks, scroll down until you see, do you see what it says learn by grading your own work, how to track your progress? It would be great for you as a parent if you could walk your child through this step initially, because being able to evaluate, I would say between 4 to 6 weeks of doing this with your child, showing them how do I assign myself a grade? Often kids will grade themselves so hard, and it makes them feel bad, and that's not what we're after. So watch the video with me and kind of see what kind of grading we are doing and celebrating the kids' successes. You know, you got 9 out of 10, that's fantastic. You should celebrate, that's wonderful. And don't worry about the 1, you'll get it next time. And so being able to evaluate and start to stack that spiral so it's upwards, and so not so it's, oh, I missed 1, oh, I missed 2, oh, I missed half of them. That's okay. So you want to start wherever they are, and then you want to see steady progress that goes up and up and up, just up a little bit each week. And that's what we're after. So it doesn't really matter. You want to know where their starting point is, so you know you'll be able to tell what their progress is looking like. Okay, so watch that video as well. And so that is the homework assignments that they choose. They can choose which homework. I will give you way more homework than you will complete. You pick and choose the homework that you would like your student to do. And usually students are pretty good at picking the assignments they want. And so pretty soon, if you're worried like, oh, my kid's only going to pick the easy ones. So pretty soon, I almost guarantee, there's always an exception, but I can guarantee you that most students will start to want to challenge themselves and be like, oh, Mom, that one's too easy. Give me a hard one. Because they're starting to love learning. And that's what we're after. We want them to not have a bad taste in their mouth when they think of math. We want them to know how to take notes, right? Know how to learn. And we want them to not only know and understand how to learn, but we want them to love it for the long term. We want them to have a positive, happy experience, so they're going to come back and do even more. So initially, you might dive in. Typically what happens is people will dive in. They'll see the math assignments outline. There's like 10 assignments. They'll try to do all 10. They'll come up short. They'll do like 2. And then they'll feel like they're behind, and then the week 2 will hit. And then we start to get the emails. Oh, my kid doesn't like this program. Oh, my kid doesn't want to engage. Well, you gave them too much. It's like trying to give them 10 different entrees for dinner, and really all you needed was a protein, a grain, a vegetable, and then later dessert. And that's all you needed. And then the kid has exactly what they need for that moment, and you move on. So think of this as a buffet, not as a to-do list. I'm going to give you way more assignments than you can possibly finish. And then what your job is to do is to pick and choose the ones that are really exciting and are the right level for your child, and then move on to the next ones. And you don't have to complete everything. You don't even have to complete all the workbook pages. You're just going to do enough of the workbook pages, and you'll hear me say this in the videos where I'm walking you through the workbook. Just do enough so your student feels like they've got this. Like, I get it. Okay, I don't have to do 25 examples of how to divide fractions. I get it. Okay, let's move on to something else. And that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now, I do provide you with a lot, just in case you do need a little bit extra. Okay, I hope this is helpful. I will see you in class. If you have questions, you're going to let me know, Aurora at superchargedscience.com, and I will see you in class.